Welcome, I'm Sage. This is the first of our queer entertainment reviews, and we're starting with the movie Beautiful Thing, which Kerry and I just watched again to refresh my memory because I've seen it many times. So it's a British a gay film that came out in 1996. It was written by Jonathan Harvey. Oh, it was originally a play. The plot is it's two high school boys, and one is a jock, and one is considered, a wimp, a geek, a fairy to the other guys at school. He's the outcast. And so these two high school boys, they both live in the same housing project. They live in the poor housing project in South London. And so that's how they know each other, because they're neighbors. Otherwise, they wouldn't be friends in school because they're on completely opposite. I mean, one has a social life and one doesn't, basically. But they're attracted to each other. And the story is a really simple, tender love story about how they come together in spite of the fact that they live in a very hard area. There's a huge ensemble cast representation in this movie, which is also really nice. All the other actors play very big parts in this movie to give you the feel that life isn't easy for any of these people. And all of them are facing struggles just being who they are, just, facing the hardships of the world. And then for these two young boys, when I say young, I mean like probably 16, 17, for these two boys to, in that environment where one is being raised by a single mom with a hippie boyfriend, and she works in a bar, and has a reputation of being a slut, whether she is or not. And, the other one lives in an abusive household raised by a drunk father. And so then these two boys are supposed to, somehow find each other and acknowledge their love. And yet it happens. It is a really great ensemble film. It came out in 1996. And, all the times that I've seen it, I remember the love story, and I forget about all the other characters and all their other storylines and what they contribute to it. And it's really important because we see these boys through their viewpoint. We see the world that they're forced to live in, and then we see what's happening to these boys through their viewpoint. It's set to the music of the Mamas and Papas, which is really fun. And if you know that kind of music, that sort of upbeat, peppy 70s, everything is wonderful kind of music, it gives you sort of an idea of the feel of the movie, because it's a very sweet film, it's a very tender film, it's a very fun and funny film. One of the reasons why I love Beautiful Thing is because, unlike so many queer films, and this is a spoiler alert, and I'm not often going to be doing spoilers on these entertainment reviews. The reason why I really love this film is because, in my opinion, too many LGBTQ films out there end in misery, death, isolation, loneliness. It seems that they're trying to reflect like what the authentic queer life has been in this world, instead of trying to paint some sort of, rosy picture that maybe the filmmakers don't believe exists. But it just means that all the queer films that I've seen for so many years are all depressing, are all sad. A friend of mine in college, actually, this is right when I came out to myself too, and he and I, we weren't interested in each other. This was purely as friends, but he sat me down before I knew he was gay, before I knew I was gay. We were watching Torch Song Trilogy. He was kind of testing me to see if it was okay for him to come out to me. And at the end of the movie, he asked what I thought of it, and I said I hated it. And he's like, oh no, that's not what I wanted to hear. And I was like, no, you don't understand. The reason why I hated it is because it makes it look like being gay is a miserable thing that just ends in sadness and depression and misery and death. And, that's also why I didn't like Brokeback Mountain. Now I want to go back and watch it with some new eyes, because not every gay movie has to end happy either. There just seem to be a dearth of them. And so there's my spoiler alert, that here is a movie that actually ends leaving you feeling good. So there's a question. So being gay is another thing that's difficult, or a respite from the hard life. Well, that's the thing. It's difficult. It is a love story. And the respite comes from, it's a great question. The respite comes from the acceptance, from the acknowledgement. You know, I know that when I came out to myself, it was, thank you. When I came out to myself, it was very hard, and I didn't want to be gay. And I think a lot of people who first come out feel that way. And my family was really upset, but not in the way that you might think. They weren't upset about me being gay because they had a problem with me being gay. They just knew what kind of hardship and discrimination and you know, challenges that I was going to have to face because of it. And those things are real. And so in that way, being gay, being LGBT is definitely can be a challenge, another of life's difficulties, but that's because of the world we live in and the environment we live in and how we've been acculturated to feel about ourselves. So the respite comes from acknowledging the love, acknowledging who we are inside, the self-acceptance, and yeah, finding someone else that you can share that with and be okay with that with. You know, there's conflict in this love story as in other gay love stories where because of, and this is really common for queer movies, in fact, is that because of outside forces, the two lovers don't feel like it's safe for them to have a relationship. They don't feel like they can acknowledge their love because of their environment, even if they feel it for each other. So then that's just more torture, right? You know who you love, but you can't be with them. Again, hardship. But when you can have the acceptance, you can have the acknowledgement, allow yourself to be who you are and live who you are, that's where the joy, that's where the freedom, that's where the respite comes from. So great question. Thank you so much. We were talking about the movie Beautiful Thing, and that's probably the close of my review on it. It's definitely thumbs up all the way. I highly recommend it. It's a really sweet, tender, and funny story.